And we're back once again for Erin the Star Wars Virgin. And now we're going to watch The Empire Strikes Back. I don't want to get your hopes up, but I will. This is one of my, if not my favorite movie ever, and my favorite of the Star Wars movies. Although I do have to see Rogue One again, because that's just so good, and I've only seen it twice. But right now, it's Empire Strikes Back. Anything to say, Erin, before we move on and watch?
I'm excited.
Excellent. All right. So we'll see you at the end of the movie, and then we'll do the commentary, bonus, blah, blah, blah. All right. Laters. I can't believe I said laters. Christ.
1990 watch?
Yep.
Oh.
Wait, say that again? Because
we only saw one of these so far, right? The older.
Well, we saw Rogue One.
Yeah, and then we saw.
And then we watched episode 4, okay, which was released in 1977, mm-hmm. And now this is episode 5.
Okay.
So this takes place, obviously, after episode 4.
Gotcha.
That's why it's called episode 5.
Cool.
Because it's after 4.
Thank you.
All right. So you remember what happened at the end of 4?
Yeah.
Right. That's they blew up the Death Star, and they got the medals, and then it ended.
Okay.
And now it's time.
But Vader escaped.
Vader escaped,
that
yeah.
Tricky little fucker.
Yes. Well, he's not so little, but yeah, yes.
I know, right? Wow.
Ends on a downer, huh?
Not really. More of a cliffhanger.
Right, but there
was a lot more conclusion with the last one.
We're just going to use my phone. It's just easier. I'll use the computer as a backup. But no, it did end on a downer. Han gets imprisoned in carbonite. Luke gets his ass kicked by Vader.
Didn't die, and he didn't join the dark side, so there's
right. But Han's away. Luke gets his ass kicked. The Empire, blew up the base on Hoth. Mm. And the rebellion's kind of at a downside right now. Mm. So it's a far cry from how Episode 4 ended. Episode 4 ended. They defeated the Death Star. They were triumphant.
Well, just kind of sorry, guys, about all the yawning and the sighing.
There's girls listening too. Don't be sexist.
Long Island, we say you guys. That's what we say. Get used to it. I'm just exhausted. It's been a really rough week. I forgot what I was saying. I feel like it's kind of formulaic when he did the first movie. Did he know he was going to do a trilogy?
I think he had like a bunch of movies planned. So yeah.
Usually with the first one, they're not sure they're going to keep going, and they want to end it on like a bang,
right?
A positive,
right?
But because I think after the second movie, he knew he was going to have to make a third one, so he needed the hook to make
right.
You can't have all three of them end on a positive. It would be
of course.
So this one had to be like that.
Yeah. Well, I think after he didn't know after he made the first one whether he was going to make a second one, if they had money, if the movie was going to be successful, but you're right in that he designed the movies like a 3-act play.
Yeah.
So always at the end of the second act, the heroes they're in the downturn, and they have to pick themselves up from after they fell down. Yeah. So what'd you think of this one?
It was really good. I noticed that I think everybody wants to bang Leia because she's like the only woman in the whole galaxy.
It's possible, yes.
Like there's in
nobody
the whole
else. Entire galaxy.
Well, yes. I haven't seen any other women.
It's like the Smurfs.
I haven't seen any other women.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've talked about this before, and that was a criticism of the original trilogy. There weren't a lot of parts for women in this. Leia's really the only major female character in these movies. So you saw on Hoth, you saw like a woman doing the, stand by for ion control.
That's true,
fire. Yeah. But, such a minor part. And you saw women who were extras in Cloud City. But, yeah, there weren't any female roles.
Yeah.
Any prominent female roles in Episode 4 in this movie, and I don't mean to spoiler. Well, I'm not going to spoil Return of the Jedi.
It's kind of obvious they're not going to randomly all of a sudden. Oh my God, there's a female heroine. No.
Right.
And that's why Rogue One was such a big deal.
And Rogue One and Episode 7, because Episode 7 there was a female protagonist in it. So, what did you like about this movie? Did you how does this rate compare to Rogue One and Episode 4?
This is a lot more of a thinking movie, I think, with all the, like, the Force stuff.
Sure.
And I also got really, like... Apparently, is Darth Vader's identity, like, completely, like, a secret?
Well...
Because, like, the way the Emperor was talking to him about how Luke is Anakin's son, it's like, you're literally talking to Anakin right now. Like, why don't you know that?
Right. Well, I'm not giving anything away, but in the original version of Empire Strikes Back. Now, in this version of Empire, it wasn't as bad as Episode 4 as far as the additional scenes.
Okay.
So in this one, there were bits and pieces. There were, like, some scene dressing, like when Lando spoke to the Cloud City. In the original version, there wasn't... It didn't
that was
show.
So random.
Yeah,
it seemed very out of place.
So those random out of place things were little bits in this movie. It wasn't that bad, but the biggest one was the dialogue between the Emperor and Vader. In the original version of Empire Strikes Back, the dialogue was a little more cryptic, and plus the Emperor looked kind of weird. He was a humanoid, but his face was a little weird. You didn't see his face that much, but the Emperor's in Return of the Jedi, and it was a different actor between Empire and Jedi. So what they did when Lucas reshot Empire Strikes Back, he took the actor who was in Return of the Jedi and put him in Empire Strikes Back just for continuity, and did change the dialogue a little bit. In the original version of Empire Strikes Back, the Emperor says, "The son of Skywalker must not become a Jedi." So he didn't get specific. He didn't even mention Anakin Skywalker's name. You didn't know the name Anakin until Return of the Jedi. So Lucas, once again in his revisionist history, kind of changed it around.
Yes, it makes it a lot more confusing.
Right. So, what else stood out? Any characters that you may have liked?
I don't know. I mean, Lando was kind of cool, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there wasn't really that many new introductions other than that in Yoda.
Right.
And I just want to take Yoda home and have him. He's like the grandparent that everybody should have.
Yeah.
Like, he's the greatest.
What'd you think as far as Yoda's acting, quote unquote acting?
It was so crazy. It was like this thing. Well, I mean, I guess it's easier to act when you can make something do exactly what you want it to do. Mm-hmm. But the amount of emotion that little doll expressed was just bananas.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, and it's not easy. I don't know. I think Frank Oz was the only puppeteer on Yoda, and then they had animatronics doing like the eyes and all that.
And the ears.
Yeah, and the, like the face itself. But like the little things that Oz was able to do with Yoda's hands, and if Yoda signaled to certain things, and it made the puppet just seem real. Mm-hmm. And it could do much more than what a CGI character can do. Because with a CGI character, you know that it's a computer right away. With Yoda, you don't. And growing up watching this movie, I mean, as a kid, imagine watching this movie as a kid and seeing that, and just, like, to me, I mean, Yoda still seems real now, but especially as a kid where it's a little harder to suspend disbelief. Mm-hmm. I first saw this movie when I was like 4 or 5. So, like, imagine as...
So you thought it was like an actual creature?
I was like, well, it just, you know, and then crazy. Watching this movie over and over and over again, and seeing the Imperial walkers and Hoth and the spaceships, it all felt real because, you know, a lot of it was. And even, like, the stop motion didn't seem as cheesy as maybe it does now. But, yeah, especially as a kid. I remember when I first saw this, I as a little kid, I found I thought it was the weakest ones because I thought it was boring. Because, like you said, it featured more on dialogue and thinking, whereas A New Hope and Return of the Jedi focus more on action. But as I get older, I find it to be the best one. And I remember what changed it was, I didn't like the movie Clerks. I really didn't like it at all. Mm-hmm. But there was a line in the movie Clerks where they talk about Star Wars, and one of the characters asked the main character, "So, well, what do you like? What do you like better, Empire or Jedi?" And the main character says, "Empire," and the other character says, "Blasphemy," and he says something like he starts mentioning all the bad things that happened in Empire, and he said, you know, because that's what Empire was about. It was a downer, and that's what life is, a series of downers. And when I heard that, I'm like, and I was maybe 20 or something when I saw Clerks, and I said, wow, Kevin Smith has a point. Kevin Smith wrote the movie. I said, he's got a point there. And ever since then, I changed from liking Jedi to Empire. I saw Empire in a whole new way because of that line in Clerks. And like I said, I don't even like the movie Clerks. But Kevin Smith is so good at commenting on Star Wars and commenting on movies in general, and that line in that movie was like, wow. So I watched Empire again, and I'm like, God damn it, he's right. And this was around when I was 20 years old, so my attitudes about life were changing because there were more downers started to happen instead of the good things that might have happened when I was a
yay.
kid. Yeah, basically. So and then I. Like, watching Empire and then watching the trilogy as an adult, like, Luke is probably still my favorite character. I still identify with Luke the most, but Han Solo is the character that I most want to be like. Because Han doesn't have any superpowers that Luke has. Han uses his wits, he uses his life experiences.
And his dashing good looks.
And, well, of course, that too, but to get away from things.
Yeah.
He didn't have the aid of any supernatural powers. He had himself, and he's a gambler. He takes risks all the time. Remember that line, "Never tell me the odds," when C-3PO was saying, "You can't escape the astrofield. It's 725 to 1." He goes, "Never tell me the odds," because he doesn't want to know. He has such a belief in himself that he can get away with things. Now, a lot of times he can't, as you can see what happened, but he uses those risks to get him where he's going. So, like, Han is the person that I would most want to be like, not in his, not because he's a criminal and because he's a smuggler and because he breaks the law, but just, how he's able to outsmart people and how he's able to use risks and get out of things. I'm not as risky as Han is in my life. Han takes a lot of risks, and I do too, but I guess they're more calculated, but I'm not as risky as Han. And when I was a kid, I identified with Luke the most because I kind of looked like him. We had the same color hair. And plus I wanted to be a Jedi. I wanted to use a lightsaber. But anything else stand out to you in the movie? Were there any parts where you were just like, oh my God, or just like anything that made you feel
One thing
emotion?
I was thinking about was the fact that Luke could communicate with Leia. And I don't know if, does she need to have Force abilities in order to hear him? Or is it just a one-way thing?
I can't really comment on that.
Okay, because I know that they're brother and sister, so I figured if they both have the same father, then, because I don't know if they're half or full, but if they both have the same father, then she has the same Force genetics that her brother does, or should, unless it doesn't really manifest uniformly. So that's something I was thinking about.
Yeah, that's a good thought to have, but I don't really know.
You do know, you just can't tell me.
I can't tell you.
That's
I
good.
won't tell you. I mean, I can tell you, I just won't.
I didn't expect you to.
Right.
But I'm just saying it anyway, because I'm smart, and I felt like saying it.
So what'd you think of Lando?
He's funny.
Yeah.
Did you think that guy?
Did you think he was cool? Did he come off as...
Yeah, he seemed kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, I think he's so suave.
Yeah, he seemed like the kind of guy that, like, all the ladies would swan over, and I'd be like, you're a fucking secretive douchebag.
Yeah, well, he's a con man.
Yeah.
Lando and Han, they're gamblers and they're con men, and they're scoundrels and they're smugglers.
Yeah.
They're criminals.
No, I get it.
I
mean, his whole, like, Sky City is a big, like... hiding from the government, like I'm surprised he didn't say to avoid taxes or something.
Possibly,
But like when he was saying all the things, he didn't say that, and he's like he said that like all his customers don't want to be found and known about. But
do you know who's playing Lando in the right now? There's a Han Solo standalone movie being made right now. A young Han Solo. Yeah, that's the next movie. It's gonna It's gonna be released in May of 2018.
Oh, wow.
So they cast a young Han Solo, and there were originally two directors. I forgot their names, but there was some kind of dispute with the studios in the middle of making the movie. So you know who took over as director?
Steven Spielberg.
Ron Howard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Emilia Clarke, the Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, is in it. And you know who's playing Lando? Remember, Donald Glover?
That's right. I remember reading about that.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Perfect casting.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, Donald Glover's a little more dorky.
Yeah, but I mean, he's an actor.
Yeah.
So he can. Well, it'll be curious if he puts on the Billy D. Williams affect. Billy D. Williams played Lando Calrissian. Billy D. has that natural, like, cool 70s charisma and vibe to him. You know, this was Empire was made in 79. It was released in 80. I think they shot it in 79. So it was the tail end of that, and Lando and plus he adds some color to the movie because it's basically a white fucking series. And I'm hoping Lucas saw the error in that he didn't cast any people of color in Episode 4. Awesome casting for using Billy D. in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think Leia was portrayed in this movie? What do you think? How do you think she was written? How do you think she acted in this movie?
I just got so annoyed that she just kept taking the sexual harassment from everybody.
Well,
like, I get that it's like, it's the time that, women just did that. But I still think she should have kind of...
Well, I mean, you have to keep in mind this was... Well, a woman co-wrote the script.
Mm-hmm.
Lee Brackett was her name. Lucas didn't write this. I think he wrote the story, and... what the fuck's the... Oh my god, Lawrence Kasdan. He wrote it along with Lee Brackett. So a man and a woman, and Kasdan wrote Episode 7, which was really cool. But, did he write Episode 7? Shit, I'm forgetting. But, anyway, so I think it just has to be one of those things where it was just the time where women, were called sweetheart, and it was a common thing. But around that time, and even, because women's lib was really going strong. So while, it could be looked at as definitely looked at as sexual harassment as far as Solo courting Leia, like calling her sweetheart. And then, like, when they actually did kiss, putting his hands on her, like, invading her personal space. If Empire Strikes Back was made today, I don't think there would be a courtship, but I don't think it would be like that. So I'm guessing, I don't know any details about the Han Solo movie, but I'm guessing Emilia Clarke is a love interest for Han. I'm guessing. So if there is a courtship, I don't know if it's gonna, it's gonna happen in the same way. I agree with what you're saying, and I just think it's just sign of the times as far as that. Yeah. But did you think Leia was a powerful character in this? Like, did you think?
Yeah, I mean, like when she was barking out orders to the troops, like I was like, that's impressive because I don't know what the hell you just said right now.
Right.
And how you knew how to do all that.
Right. So she still, showed qualities of a leader.
Badass, yeah.
Absolutely. And I think what's cool about this movie is that it kind of hinted about what went on between Episode 4 and this. There were little hints about, Han saying we escaped the bounty hunters at Ord Mantell. But it's what wasn't said in that Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie, R2, and C-3PO have been through a lot of stuff, and they probably went through a lot of stuff between
I feel like
Episodes
they're so
4 and
bonded
5.
like a family.
Yes, yeah, kind of. And, with that, there's, tension between the three of them. A sexual tension, if you will, like a love triangle. And it was kind of evident in Episode 4, because Luke kind of had a liking to Leia, and there was a line about Han saying, you think a princess and a guy like me? And Luke says, no, and interrupts him like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And even in this one, where Leia kisses Luke on the mouth when she says to Han, well, you just don't know women, do you? And she kisses Luke and kind of makes out with him. So it leads me to believe that Lucas did not plan for them to be brother and sister until he wrote Return of the Jedi, and he didn't write Return of the Jedi based on what actually happened in Empire Strikes Back, because it's like, well, why would you do that? But
that's the thing, like, you're writing it, why do you not know what's happening?
Well, and that's a criticism for the prequels too.
That makes no, like, are you schizophrenic or like bipolar, like split personality? What's going on here? That makes no goddamn sense.
What do you think as far as, like, the action in this movie compared to, like, Rogue One and Episode 4?
There wasn't as much of it, but that's fine. I didn't mind that at all.
Right.
It was kind of nice and mellow.
Yeah.
I kind of needed something mellow, so it kind of worked.
Oh. And what do you think of Yoda's dialogue, like, talking about the Force? Like, what do you think of the Force as a philosophy in general, and as a supernatural force, if you will, or philosophy? What do you think of it? What did you think of what Yoda said?
It's kind of cool. I mean, I guess my atheist bias kind of makes me like, oh, this is bullshit. But at the same time, it's like, well, he picked up a plane, so...
But, yeah, I'm just saying, unlike God, there's evidence that the Force exists.
Exactly.
Yeah, because Han was like that in Episode 4. Han's like, the ancient religions are no match for a blaster. And then even when Luke was blocking the lightsaber bolts with the helmet, Han kept saying, I call it luck. There was skepticism in that. Mm-hmm. But, unlike God, there's evidence that the Force is around because you see things moving by themselves.
Right.
And you see Luke getting stronger and seeing the future and seeing the past and going in the cave. And what'd you think of the cave?
Well, it wasn't a cave. No, it was funny. Oh, wait.
When Luke went into the cave.
Oh, I thought he was just in the forest. I didn't really see he actually went into the cave. That's why I'm like, what is he looking at that he thinks he sees somewhere he has to go? Like, I thought he was just like wandering around in the woods.
No, Yoda told him to go because there's strong dark side presence in there.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah. Yoda told him to go in and said, you have to face it. And then Luke said, well, what's there? And Yoda says, only what you take with you.
Right.
And then Yoda said, your weapons, you will not need them. And Luke took the weapons anyway. So maybe if Luke didn't take the weapons, or Luke had maybe a better thinking process, maybe he wouldn't have seen the horrifying image he saw in the cave. But maybe he would have. Who knows?
But I feel like it was almost symbolic of him, like, deciding, like, I'm killing my dark side. Like, it's never happening.
Mm-hmm. Or he sees himself in Darth Vader. So it could mean that, he's Darth Vader's son. So it was a premonition.
Yeah.
Or this is what Luke can become if he goes down to the dark path. Because remember, he said to Yoda, he said, Vader is the dark side stronger. And emphatically and quickly, Yoda says, no, but it's quicker and it's more seductive.
Right.
And you can tell what Vader was doing to Luke. He was seducing him. He was saying, if you join me, we can rule the galaxy. We can put order to this conflict. We can put everything in motion. As father and son, we can do this. So what Yoda was doing was hard, training Luke. What Vader was saying to him was easy.
Of course.
So that's what Yoda and Ben were trying to warn him about. So what do you think of Ben not telling Luke about Vader?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think Luke would... it would have been a nice warning for him. Mm-hmm. Like, you're this close to it, so be careful.
Yeah.
Like, knowing that you have a parent that's an alcoholic, you have to be more careful than the average person or something.
That's a good analogy.
Well, I try. So, yeah, I thought that was... But I don't even know if that's, like, true with the darkness of the Force, if it's more seductive if you have, like...
Right.
If the family thing has anything to do with it.
Yeah. Well,
but maybe Luke would have wanted to get to know his dad if that was the case, if he knew.
Yeah.
But I swear, like, for a minute I was thinking if I was in Luke's position and this guy was saying, like, oh yeah, you can join me, and I would be thinking of, like, would I be able to, like, destroy this shit from the inside?
Right.
Or would the dark side take me over and I wouldn't be able to?
Good thinking, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. It was a great moment, though, with when Vader says, come with me, and Luke, in just an act of defiance, looks at him and just lets go, and he falls. Mm-hmm. So he's saying, I'd rather fall. Luke was probably thinking to his death than join him. But whether it was luck or whether it was the Force, he got out of it, and...
I don't understand why Vader didn't know that he should keep going after him.
If Vader should... What?
Did Vader know he wasn't dead?
I think so.
I mean, obviously he would have felt it if he did. That's why I was like, why did they let him just hang out on the thing?
Why did who?
Why didn't Vader have somebody go?
Well, the Falcon got to him first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Erin, the pressure's on.
Oh, God.
The pressure's on you right now.
All right, I've been mulling this over in my head for like 2 days because I'm the worst at picking favorites. Or of anything. Like, if somebody asks me my favorite band, I name like 7. So, yeah. So I feel like Rogue One was really good because I had seen the Star Wars movies back in high school. But I don't remember really much of anything, and I, for some reason, I don't know why, was so confused about who's good and who's bad and what's going on and what's happening and why these people are rebelling. So Rogue One kind of cleared my mind and set me up to understand what the hell's going on. So I really liked that. I really liked that there was a woman lead. And I just really liked the character development. Although I did think that the main character, what's-her-face, like, turned around.
Jyn Erso.
Yeah. I feel like she turned around to join the rebellion way too easily. So I would say that's probably in the middle. Now, the first...
A New Hope.
A New Hope, like...
Which is episode 4.
To me, it's the first one because it was the first one made.
Right.
But yeah. That one was good. I felt like it was very clinical just because there was a lot of machinery, a lot of lasers, a lot of action-y things, and not a lot of, emotional talking, whatever. So I liked it, kinda, but not as much as Rogue One. And then with The Empire Strikes Back, first of all, I loved Yoda and his planet and the whole swamp thing. Like it just
Dagobah.
It just reminded me of like going to Florida in my childhood. So I really liked that, and I liked there was a lot more emotion. There was a lot more of Chewie in it, and him showing emotion because he kind of didn't really do that as much in the previous movie.
Right.
And Yoda's just a fucking awesome. Oh my god, he's awesome. Like,
yeah.
He's just this great creature. Like. Not just his character, but like the fact that he's a puppet and he has such a human and realness to him that I think that's probably my favorite right now, narrowly. But I mean, I could change my mind, but I'm pretty sure right now that's my favorite so far.
All right, so we have in order of greatness, Empire Strikes Back, followed by Rogue One, followed by Episode 4.
Yes, but it's all very narrow.
Yes. All right.
Very narrow.
Very good. Did Yoda remind you of anyone in your life at all?
He's like the grandfather I never had.
Right.
Like my grandpa was never that wise and gave me that much wisdom that I can remember. I mean, he still taught me a lot of awesome things.
Right.
But, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why Yoda's a made-up character. So when you make up characters, sometimes you put things that you wanted in real life but couldn't get. That's why it's a fantasy. But yeah, definitely the great archetype of the old wise master and sage, and yeah.
Does he remind you of anyone?
No, not. There's glimpses of like my dad. Not to say that my dad looks. Not to say that my dad looks like Yoda.
No, he definitely doesn't.
But like my dad always had these little
nuggets of wisdom.
And I remember one time my cousin was smoking cigarettes, and my cousin was in his early 20s, I think. And my dad he failed to convince him to try and quit, but my dad would try and quote Yoda to him. And this was in the I think the late 80s, I think. So maybe that's why too, because my dad would always quote Yoda. That line,
makes sense,
do or do not, there is no try. My dad would always go to that. Or my dad would have his own variation when he would yell at me.
Oh God.
When he would want me to do something, and then I would begin by saying, "Well, I said I would," and he would interrupt and say, "Don't say, do," which is probably the variation on.
Sounds like Yoda is.
Yeah. Well, Yoda would say, "Try not, do or do not. There is no try." And then Yoda kind of was always like I never really had a grandfather. My dad's father died when my dad was very young, so my dad didn't know him. And my mom's father lived most of his life in Italy, so I didn't see him that much. But my dad's mother lived next door to me, so I always got like a grandmotherly sense of Yoda. It's funny you mentioned you got grandfather, even though Yoda's a male. Only in that time, like ancient figure.
Right.
Meanwhile, like when I was a little kid, my grandmother was in her 50s and 60s, but she always seemed so ancient, and she lived to 101.
Yeah.
So,
my long time to be old.
Yeah, and my grandmother, my grandma died when I was in my 30s, and from 0 to 30, grandma was grandma, and she was just this old figure. And when she died, it was such a weird feeling, because the fact that she wasn't there anymore was like she left a vacuum.
Right.
She definitely left a vacuum because it's like, well, what's going to happen now? Grandma's not anymore. Grandma's not here anymore. She had that presence of that matriarchal presence.
Yeah, I know my grandma was like that too.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
my mom and my
well, my grandmother was very, very wise too. You know.
oh my gosh, I say grandma-isms all the time.
Yeah.
Half the stuff I say, like all my little Erin-isms, are really from my grandma.
Yeah.
Like all the weird random phrases that I use.
Yep. So Yoda's that old person in our lives, I guess.
That old wise person trying to be our Jiminy Cricket.
How come you couldn't, when you saw Star Wars when you were younger, how come you couldn't discern who was good and who was bad?
I don't know.
Found that
probably drunk or tired or was
you must have been
at
really
a very
drunk.
undernourished state.
Oh.
Or all of the above.
Right. I was going to say it's kind of basic as far as who's the good guy and who's the
Well, this was in like 10th
bad.
and 11th grade, so I was in 5 AP classes and sleeping 4 hours every night.
Stress.
And on a track team, so I was, stressing my body out for 2 hours every day on top of it. So yeah, like my brain was fried all the time.
Oh, well.
This is high school, yay!
Yay, high school, great.
Yeah.
Yes, to mold us into the people who we are.
Yeah.
The people who we are. Great. Well, on that note, I think this is the end. I got to edit and make sure it's the end.
Okay.
So if it is the end, it's time for plugs. So you can find me on Twitter at Mike Lane Act. That's Mike Lane ACT. Email me at MikeLaneAct@yahoo.com. Find me on Facebook at Mike Lane Actor. Listen on Podbean, subscribe on iTunes, find me on Stitcher, comment please, and do all that kind of stuff.
Thumbs up.
Where can people find you, Erin?
In a gutter.
Find Erin in a gutter.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you want to give your Twitter handle?
Sure, it's at ERUNUEVO, Erin Nuevo. You probably don't want to follow me because I say a lot of things about politics that nobody likes.
Yeah, maybe that's why they want to. Well, I
mentioned running.
Right. Well, I think talking about politics, especially, we're liberals, so I think more people than you think like what we say.
Yeah, I randomly get a lot of followers that I'm like, oh my god, this person's following me now. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And if you like chatting about running, she does run chat all the time because she runs a lot.
I only run once a week. I just run a lot of miles.
She runs a lot of miles. Yeah. Okay.
I used to be a runner like every day, and now I realize that I'd rather do other things. So I run once a week, but I do like 14 miles, so it makes up for it.
All right, great. So on that note, we will catch you
on the flip side.
We will catch you. Hopefully you won't be falling because that would hurt to catch you.
I could do it. I'm strong.
She can do it. She's strong. Hopefully I'll do it as well. I'd like to catch someone. Actually, no, I don't want to catch anyone. I'd rather they not fall. There you go. So I'd rather you not fall.
But if you have to fall, I will catch you.
Catch me now, I'm falling. Dun, 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 dun.
People are probably like, why are they still talking?
This goodbye is way too long, so we'll see you next time. All right, may the force be with you. And here's our commentary, which isn't a full commentary. These are just our random comments during the movie. Enjoy, and see you next time. Oh, here we go with THX again.
Is there a big gap in time between the last one and this one?
I think it's about 2 years.
Okay.
I think.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Because since Rogue One went right into
Yes, it's not. This doesn't take place directly after. The rebellion has been going on, and the Empire is looking for them.
2 years later, wow.
I think so. I'm not too sure, but I think. They don't really say it.
Well, I don't think they would give up because they don't seem like the types to give up on anything. But I'm surprised it would take them that long because they seem pretty crafty.
Who?
The Empire.
Yeah, well, it's a big galaxy.
Good point.
Yeah. Maybe the opening crawl will fill you in on something.
I can read it. It goes so fast.
Well, the Star Wars does, but I think the opening crawl is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this in a while. Oh my god, I love this movie.
Why do I feel like the crawl is not as fast as last time I saw it?
I don't know.
That's funny.
looking back on it, even though this movie is so great, the title, The Empire Strikes Back, is pretty cheesy. It goes back to, like, George Lucas's love of Flash Gordon. So, like, you say it as, like, Empire Strikes Back is the best, but it's like, yeah, The Empire Strikes Back. You know, it's just a, kind of like a kid's title, almost.
I guess. I think it's kind of cute.
Yeah. Like, when Attack of the Clones came out, which was episode 2, people were saying, oh my god, what a dumb title. Meanwhile, like, Empire Strikes Back isn't that much. You know, it's similar to Attack of the Clones,
I guess.
in a way. But not in quality of movie. Oh my god. No.
What would you title it?
This one? I don't know. Empire Strikes Back. Exactly. Makes sense. I'd have to think about that.
The Empire's Revenge.
Yeah. Yeah, Strikes Back is good. It's just, it's been with me my whole life. I can't think of any other. I wouldn't have any other title, I guess. It's not CGI. That's a model.
I can tell.
It looks real.
Beautiful.
That's like.
Is that added after the fact?
No, that's like stop motion animation. I think
Oh.
that looked a little fake, but the close-ups look beautiful. Yeah, looks like a stop motion.
That looks, definitely. Reminds me of my favorite movie.
What?
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh yeah.
Not my favorite, but one of them.
All right. So between episode 4 and episode 5, Mark Hamill got in a terrible, terrible car accident. So like his face looks a little different than he did in
he had to have like a bunch of surgery
in episode 4.
Right?
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes sense because it shows Luke is Luke's a
Haggard.
freedom fighter now. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like the thing from The Land Before Time. Oh shit.
Can never catch a break, this Luke. So, I believe they put this scene in to kind of let people know why Luke's face was all screwed up. So I think that's why, but they didn't have to. But it was still a cool thing for Luke to go through. Pardon the pun. Cool. They're on a nice planet.
Haha.
There he is, Han. Yes.
He's still paying that guy off?
Jabba's looking for him.
Good fighter solo.
2 years now.
I think it's 2 years, but when you owe a mobster a debt, they're gonna keep coming after you. Jabba's like a mafia don.
Well, Your Highness, guess this is it.
I'm surprised it took him so long to pay it off already.
Well, rebellion's kind of poor, I guess. So you can only imagine what they've been through, Han and Leia, between episodes 4 and 5. They don't, there's no exposition there, but you can tell there's, they've gone through some things.
Sexual tension and things?
Yeah, maybe. Now, those are puppets. They still look real,
Kinda.
Sir, Commander Skywalker has a...
That's Cliff from Cheers.
Check in.
Oh my god, yeah. I was like, I know that guy.
Trouble adapting him to the code.
Wow, he looks so different.
Sir, the temperature's dropping too rapidly. That's right, my friend's out in... Your tauntaun will freeze before you reach the first marker. We'll see you in hell.
So there's a hell in that universe, in that galaxy.
They're all good Christians. Come on now.
I think they filmed the snow planet in Norway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He is in deep shit.
It's like the Bumble from the Rudolph movie.
That wasn't in the original. That was like another added scene. But it's, that's
Why
not,
not?
it's whatever.
Oh shit, he's like using the Force.
Yeah, so it shows the time has gone by where he's starting, he's teaching himself, basically.
That is so what the Bumble from Rudolph would be. It was scary. You have to see that if you haven't seen it.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like a billion times when I was a kid.
You remember the Bumble's Bounce, the big white monster?
No, it's been a
It
while.
looks like, oh my god, I watch it like as much as I can. Only when it comes on TV though, because otherwise it's not special. Even though I have it on tape on. I can't wait for winter.
Oh god. Not this kind of winter.
I know, but still.
So without explaining, it shows how much closer they've all gotten.
Yeah, well, they didn't need to. I mean, obviously, when they first, in the last movie, Han would not have stopped trying to leave for him. Especially after he told Leia to go fuck herself, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize Chewbacca was so emotional.
Well, it's Han's friend. Han's his best friend. I think they shot this. It was so cold that the crew was inside a hotel while Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford were outside, and the camera equipment was all inside while they were out. That's how cold it was.
How did they control the camera equipment?
I don't know.
Oh, fuck. Oh, there goes your eye.
Now listen to the call sign.
This is Rogue 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, right? Isn't that great? Now, if you remember in Rogue One, Darth Vader was in a similar tank like that. It's called the Bacta tank. It has healing properties to it.
Luke, sir, it's so good to see you fully functional
Cool.
again. Thanks, Luke. Aren't you expect this is reinforcing?
How you feeling, kid?
All that water, it's like homeopathy.
You look strong enough to pull the ears off a gun dart.
Well, I don't think it's water. It's Bacta fluid. It's
I
called.
was just joking.
Oh, you're
Remember the band? There was a band in the 90s called Nerf Herder.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where they got it from,
Oh,
obviously.
okay.
close to the mark.
Now, this shows that, well, never mind.
Well,
Okay.
gotta shoot it. Shoot it now. Oh, you dumbass.
No, well, they did that on purpose.
I'm just kidding. It's like they have so much stuff, like all their equipment or whatever, that's like gotta be really hard to move really quick.
Yeah. It's a
then-
plotting army.
And they don't even have like the money to just go and buy more shit, like,
Yeah.
And if they did, they would probably send off alarm bells, like, picking up a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they have the advantage that it's such a big galaxy that they can they can hide, but and they're found.
Aww. I'm just gonna be sabotaged their ships so they couldn't leave.
Look at the size of that Star Destroyer. That's Vader's ship.
Yeah. That's so badass.
What is it, General?
It's his meditation
I know
chamber.
what the fleet has moved out of line.
I had that toy set as a kid.
Oh, right. Oh, shit.
It's the ion cannon.
Good night, Lorena.
Remember those from Rogue One?
Yes.
Echo Station 3TA.
So when we saw that in Rogue One on the trailers, we were like, oh my god!
I don't understand how they got on the planet, though.
They got Empire as transports. So those big ships,
Yeah.
they transported them down to the
The
surface.
shield was up.
The shield can... No, there was a shield over the base, not the planet.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. There was a shield over the planet in Rogue One, but this was just over the base.
Okay.
So this is Rogue Squad.
Shit.
And I have the walkers at my parents' house.
Yeah.
My nephew plays with those. Wedge was in the Death Star battle with Luke. He was one of the few survivors. So the guy who plays Wedge is Ewan McGregor's uncle in real life.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And Ewan McGregor played Obi-Wan in the prequels.
Yes. It all comes full circle.
Yeah.
What the hell was Wilder's face?
Blood. Got hit.
When did that happen?
He got hit. He got shot at once. You didn't see it. That's why Luke said, "Are you all right?"
Oh.
Huh?
I don't know why you're laughing.
No, because they were going one way and then they had to turn around. 3PO didn't know what was going
Oh,
on.
okay. I'm very surprised they were able to get off the planet, to be honest with you.
Just setting a new course.
I thought Vader would have had that shit on lock.
Yeah.
We're not going to regroup.
Well, I'm sure they had an escape plan
We're going to the Dagobah.
mapped out just in case.
Yeah, I guess.
But a lot of them didn't get out.
Yeah.
That's all right.
And the Empire can't put a blockade throughout the whole planet. It's just too big.
Yeah. I thought they would have.
You need a lot of ships to put a blockade planet-wide.
Only part of the planet where the base was.
No, but then they had different rendezvous points, and there's different ships going in different directions.
Wait, are those all Empire ships?
Yeah.
So why are they crashing into each other?
They're not. They're going in different directions. The guy said take evasive action.
Oh, just kidding.
Watch this.
I mean, the music with the sound. Oh, just so exciting.
That looks pretty good.
Is that just like a big ass asteroid?
Yeah.
Because he'll spit him out once he knows he's not food.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time I've ever seen Yoda in action before.
Yeah.
Put that down. Hey! Dinner!
Very lifelike.
He's like the epitome of sexual harassment.
Mm-hmm.
Move the ship out of the asteroid field so that we can send a clear transmission.
The boss is calling.
It's hard to remember that Vader's not the boss.
Yep. Now, this scene is different than from the original.
Oh.
So the dialogue was similar, it's just a different actor. They matched the actor who played the Emperor in Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
You will be.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like the acting of a puppet.
Yeah, I know.
You forget that he's a puppet.
You do.
With the Frank Oz's voice and the puppeteering of Frank Oz and the animatronics, it's just, it cannot compete with CGI at all.
No.
When it's CGI, you know it's a cartoon. With Yoda, you forget. Like the faces that Yoda made as soon as he revealed himself, it's like, that's acting.
Yeah. The ears are a great touch.
Yeah.
They're so expressive. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, you guys really are on top of an animal or something. A live creature of some sort. And you need to get the fuck out of there right now.
It's a close one.
Yeah. Good thing it didn't, like, digest them.
Mm-hmm.
Did they film this on a set, or...
Yeah, this was on a set in England.
So much for not needing his weapons.
But remember what Yoda said? So what's in there, and Yoda said only what you take with you?
Oh. It's kind of like the expression I would expect to see on one of the people that are sitting there waiting while people are in the jungle having an ayahuasca trip.
Yeah, I thought of that.
Like, he's just like, you just have a life experience, I'll wait.
Well, it seems like Yoda saw what Luke saw anyway.
Yoda sees everything.
Yeah, basically.
Priority signal from the Star Destroyer. Right.
He's been doing it for a while.
There will be a substantial reward.
Shit.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
I say that all the time now.
Captain, Lord Vader demands an update on the pursuit. Get a shuttle ready. I shall assume full responsibility for losing them and apologize to Lord Vader.
Good luck with that.
Continue to scan the air.
It's on my bucket list. Not necessarily with a Yoda on my foot, though.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely want to be able to do a handstand. Look at his face, oh my god! Seriously, Archie, shut the fuck up, you're distracting him. Yoda needs to take a nap now.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I'll apologize. Idiot. Bye. Nice knowing so they're hidden in plain sight, basically.
Yeah.
Oh no. God damn it. Maybe George Jetson?
It's in the clouds.
Oh, really? What do you know?
Nice to see a familiar face. Eat chuta. How rude.
Did you just say eat shit?
Possibly.
To unity. I wonder if... I didn't mean to intrude. No, please don't get up.
What the?
That boy is our last hope.
No. There is another.
Oh. Oh my god.
I've just made a deal that'll kick the Empire out of here forever.
What?
We would be honored if you would join us.
Motherfucker. It's like torture.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I shut it off. I thought it was some sort of, like, mind fuckery or something.
Well, yeah.
I mean, shut.
That's why they shot him.
Yeah.
Jesus. Why wouldn't he want Leia to stay around? She's cool.
I guess he wouldn't want to face her all the time.
I'm sure that.
And she would attract a lot of attention, too.
Well, if Vader already said that the Empire's gonna leave them alone, then...
Right, but attract attention from other, other
Rebels?
people. No. Yeah, or rebels, too. If the rebels find she's there, it just attracts, she's a known figure. And plus, he would have to face her all the time, and she would probably try and kill him.
True that.
Now that Han's line following that, they had so many different takes, and they couldn't find the right one, and Harrison Ford ad-libbed "I know." And it's perfect for Han's character, because Han would never say "I love you too."
Of course not.
So they had so many different lines, but finally he said "I know," and they went, "That's it," and it perfectly encompasses Solo.
It's the only thing he could have said.
Yeah.
Well, maybe of course, but I think I know is probably
no,
because that's not. Yeah.
No, it's
Maybe
perfect.
A little bit more ego.
It's perfect.
Jesus. It's not the freezing that's the hard part, it's the thawing.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
What an asshole.
Stop pumping my leg, man. I'm busy.
Iconic.
Yeah, clearly.
So Vader's fighting with one hand. He's fucking with him.
Yeah. He probably knows what he's gonna do right before he even does it.
Yeah.
Well, that was easy.
Keep it quiet.
He gave up like it was like no big deal.
Well, what are they gonna do?
I don't know.
They would get killed if they tried to fight. They're outnumbered.
Wait a minute. So, the ship that followed them after they left the asteroid belt was the bounty hunter. It wasn't...
Who'd you think it was?
I thought it was one of Darth Vader's guys.
No, it was the bounty hunter. It was Boba Fett.
Your destiny lies with me, Skywalker.
And then did he tip off Vader that he found them?
Yeah.
Shit.
And then the Empire got to Lando before Han and Leia did.
What the hell?
Perhaps you're not as strong as they thought.
Apparently he can fly now? What the fuck was that?
The Jedis can jump.
Most impressive.
Remember he was running with Yoda? He did that flip?
Yeah, that's true, but I didn't expect him to be able to, like, blast out of there like a fucking maniac.
Yeah.
Only your hatred can destroy me.
Is that true, or is he lying to make him go dark? How does that hurt? You don't have any feelings? I guess Lando's not with him?
Yeah, Lando's with him.
Nice. Yes. About goddamn time. Oh my god, what? That's mighty convenient.
No, it's some kind of exhaust.
He might have lost his hand.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. Why isn't it bleeding everywhere?
It's a lightsaber. It's cauterized. Yeah.
That's convenient. I can't even imagine the level of pain that must be.
Yeah.
So I guess he thinks that Luke died. Again. That was me today. Jesus. Yeah, why would they bother even fixing it if they knew that, they weren't going to be using the ship, or they assumed they wouldn't be using the ship anyway?
No, just in case. Or I think Lando's people fixed it, and then the Empire...
Fucked it.
Yeah.
Got it. Uh-oh. Yeah, you're dying now.
R2 saves the day.
Say goodbye to your wife and kids. So what the fuck are they now?
They're at some rendezvous point with the
Random
rebellion.
hospital. Nice. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, he didn't have a non-hand for a long time, because